Welcome back to the Happiness Breakthrough Strategies. These are going to be those tips, tricks, personal development tools to help you break through and get to that next level in your life. Today, we're going to talk about taking pride in your work. I remember when I was young, my family, we loved to camp. And when we camped, we would spend a long time camping. In other words, we would go out for 2 weeks, go spend it at one campground. We'd go the next 2 weeks at another one. We would literally go camping for 6 weeks straight. It was fantastic. Some of my best memories are growing up in the mountains of Colorado. But I remember this one summer when we were finishing up camping, and my dad, he said, "Hey, Mark, well, you're old enough now," and I was probably about 13. And he said, "Hey, could you help by cleaning up the campground?" I said, "Well, sure." So I walked around as any 13-year-old would, and I would pick up a little thing here and a little thing there, and I'd throw it away, and I'd say, "I'm done." And my dad, in his infinite wisdom and patience, and as only a loving parent or mentor or coach could do, looked at me and said, "Did you do all of it?" And I said, "Of course, Dad, look at this." And he pointed me towards the fire pit. He said, "Mark, did you take the trash out of the fire pit?" Wait, take the trash out of the fire pit? Why on earth would I do that? He said, "Well, your job is not done until you do that." And so, as any great 13-year-old reluctant teenager would do, I huffed and puffed and walked over and took out the stuff out of the fire pit. The next trip that we took, I still remember, we were up in Estes Park, Colorado, and as we were cleaning up and finishing up, he said, "Hey, Mark, it's your turn again to help clean up the campground." I said, "Sure." And knowing what he would want me to do, I, of course, cleaned out even the trash that was in the fire pit. And when I was done, I very proudly went to him and he said, "Did you get all of it?" And of course, in my 13-year-old exuberance, I did, right? I got all of it. And then he said, "What about outside of the campground, the pad that we had, the dirt around?" I said, "Oh, yeah." And he pointed me over and he said, "Well, what about that Pepsi can over there?" I said, "Well, Dad, that's not ours." And he said, No, that's not what I asked. Did you clean up all of the trash?" Well, darn it, I had again. So I went and I picked up the Pepsi can, even though we don't drink Pepsi. We are a Dr. Pepper family here. But I picked that up and I very proudly told him, "I am done." And he said, "That was great." And so we went to our next campground. This was over in Maroon Bells outside of Aspen, Colorado. And of course, at the end of that, I knew what my dad was going to ask me because I was catching on now. I knew that he was going to ask me to pick up the trash. And so I was on top of it. And I picked up the trash in the fire pit. I got the trash that was around the campground right where we were staying. And he stopped and he said, "Did you get it all?" And I said, "Well, of course, Dad. Look at this. Look, I got this. Even the Pepsi cans. I got everything I needed to do." And he said, "Yes, but did you get everything outside of our campground? Did you get the campsite to our left and to our right?" I said, "Well, Dad, of course not. We didn't stay there." He said, "That's not what I asked. Did you pick it up?" I look back at my dad's lesson. I bet he doesn't even know what he taught me. It was about taking pride in the work that we do. It was really about doing everything that we can and a little bit more. And I love that because it taught me that when we really take pride in our work, we're not doing the bare minimum. We're not doing the very least amount that we can do. We're going to be willing to get into the fire pit, to get around the campsite, to check the sites to the left and the right. We're willing to do what it takes to really take pride and to do what my dad said, and that is leave this world better than you found it. That lesson has stuck with me since I was 13. And I'm really grateful for it because that's how I live my life and it's how I try to approach my business. I really try to leave the world better than I found it. I was talking today with a gentleman who coaches Olympians and professional athletes. And it was amazing to listen to him, to know that he coaches the top of the top. And yet he was asking me, what do I do? How do I help my clients? And I told him, I take pride in my work. I take pride in what I do. And that's my challenge to you. Take pride today. Whatever job you have, do it a little bit better. Because somebody is watching you. Even that 13-year-old boy may be watching how you are interacting with the world. Take pride in that. Hey, I want to encourage you to go take my happiness quiz because in that quiz, you are going to find out exactly what your happiness level is and get the tips and tricks and tools to help you elevate that. And isn't that something that we all want? We want to have even more happiness in our lives. So I encourage you to click on the link below and go take that happiness quiz. And as always, if you want some extra coaching, mindset therapy, that mindset work that helps you focus on the positive, reach out to me because I would love to help you break through and get to that next level in your life. Thanks for listening. Please give this a big like and a share because that helps me help you change the world one person at a time. Thanks, you guys.